Hi everybody, my name is Kevin Deskins. I'm here at Midwest Photo in Columbus, Ohio, just off of Silver Drive on 71. We are a photo store here in Columbus, Ohio, local brick and mortar mom and pop store. I'm here today to talk to you about the new Godox V1 that we just got in stock. Now, guys, I know you probably have a lot of questions on this and you're really excited to get one, but we don't quite have them up on the site yet. But if you're interested, you can always stop in our store or give us a call. We can take your order over the phone. We should have these up on the website by next week, early next week. So if you're interested in anything that you see here today, we'll eventually update the description below with links. You can always visit our website at mpex.com. On that website too is our phone number. Feel free to call us. We have tons of specialists here, Canon, Nikon, Sony, lighting, video, anything that you need, we can answer your questions. So I just want to dive right into it right away. The new Godox V1 round head flash. You may have heard something about it. Maybe you've searched for this video. Maybe you're just tuning in because you're seeing that it's live and you want to know more about it. We were very excited to get these and we're super excited to be selling these. But I want to do just a quick unboxing real quick on what is included in the Godox V1 flash kit. First and foremost, you get your flash, right? It's a round head flash. You'll see right off the bat that it does have an opening through there. That's where your battery is going to go. So with that, you do get the lithium-ion battery. You get a little charging docking station. It comes with a USB to USB-C charger. What's nice about that is you can charge it in your car. If you have a USB port in your car, if you can charge it from your computer or your laptop, or it comes even with the little AC adapter where you can plug it into the wall if you so choose and you don't have a USB port available. So that's really convenient. That USB to USB-C also could function as the firmware update because the V1 does have a USB-C port. So with that, you also get, of course, the flash, the charger, the battery. What are the other cool, exciting things that you would get with that? The case. Always get a case with a flash, right? What's cool here is that Godox has, because it is more of a pro flash, you do get the Godox embossed there on the leather of the flash case, and it has a nice Godox orange interior, which is nice and flashy. But what's really cool about this flash case that I haven't seen in a whole lot of other flash cases is that it does have that, you can take off that belt loop and put it over through your belt rather than having to take your belt off. But under that belt loop is a little pocket too, so you can store your gels or maybe a sync cable, an extra battery if you do end up purchasing one of those for the flash. So really nice flash case that comes with that. And then of course you get your literature and your warranty information in there as well, a little catalog of Godox stuff if you're into that and looking at their literature. So key features, why is this flash out? What's so special about it? Let's talk about that a little bit. First and foremost, you'll notice it has a round head. This isn't something you've seen a whole lot in the market, at least after the 1980s, 1990s. There were some photographers there in the wedding scene that were using a quantum flash, which was kind of a bare bulb flash and had a round attachment head, but it wasn't a true round head flash. This has a metal loop inside. It has the Fresnel that's specially designed for the round head, but in addition, it has a metal loop that's built into the inside of this, so you can add some of those specialty magnetic modifying attachments to it. It does have an LED on here, so you can see where your light is going to fall. That's pretty unique to a speed light. You don't get to see that a whole lot in the speed light realm. So the modeling in light's very convenient, at least for me. I used to teach lighting quite a bit in the classroom, and it's really nice to see where your light's going to fall and show students how different modifiers would work. It is compatible with the Godox X radio system, so that if you are using an X Pro, an X1T, or an X2T, those are already built into here. The receiver is built into it, so there's no extra dongles you have to attach to it. In addition to that, it serves as its own radio transmitting device, much like the V862, if you're familiar with those. It has a commanding unit in it where you can control all 32 channels and groups A through E, depending on what camera brand system you're using. So you can actually use this as a commander for other flashes if you're so using this on the actual on-camera shoe. Other nice thing about it, it is a TTL flash. So with that come all the nice caveats of the TTL. You get high-speed sync, you get second curtain sync, you get strobo multi-flash function, you get flash exposure compensation. So anything that you would be able to normally do with a regular TTL speed light, you're going to be able to do with the V1. On top of that, rechargeable lithium-ion battery, which means you're not having to fumble with dead AA's, recycling AA's, recharging AA's. AA's have their place in their time, but in this day and age of new speed lights, lithium ion is boss. So you want to stick with that nice, large 2400 milliamp lithium-ion battery that's going to give you lots of life. With that, that's 480 full power pops. So whether you're using high-speed sync or if you're just using it manual and you're popping off a lot of high power shots, you're going to get a lot of shots out of just one charge of the battery. The radio commanding is actually very user-friendly compared to some of the other flash units that I've used before. You get a 1.5 second recycling time at full power, which is extremely fast. Some of my tests even went like longer than that. So I actually could get like a second, maybe half a second between full power pops. So the 1.5 seconds, they're being kind of generous there. What are the advantages now? So you know what the flash is about. You know that it can magnetically attach pieces. I'll kind of review the AKR1 kit here in a second. But what does it have compared to maybe your standard speedlight like the V862? Maybe you're one of the V860 users and you're curious, why should I upgrade from the V862 to a V1? Or should I upgrade from the V862 to the V1? So let's kind of talk about those differences and the advantages of the V1. Not that there are any disadvantages of the V860. It's a great flash. I use one myself, but the V1 just has something special about it. So the round head, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that it gives a rounder, more even light. Compared to a speedlight, which has a rectangular head, the round head gives you that round size, and with it comes very consistent spread of light. Now, a standard speedlight is going to give you more of that oblong or rectangular flash pattern. If you are holding it up against a wall or if you're trying to hit something certain, that can get really tricky with a standard speedlight head. So that round head really shines there. The ability to attach those magnetic modifiers, now you get that automatically with the V1, but in order to do that with the V862, you have to buy the additional SR1 round head adapter. So all this does is it takes your V860, for example, and it allows you to attach some of those modifiers to it. It doesn't make the flash a round head, it just gives you the ability to use this modifier set, which is kind of handy if you already have one of these, and this was your only point of interest when it came to the round head. The other thing is the modeling light. Again, I can't stress this enough. A modeling light and a speed light is pretty unique. And something I discovered right before this video is you can even customize the modeling light, much like a monolight, where the modeling light will dim after the flash actually fires so that it tells you when it's recycled, which is such a cool feature for a speed light. It's very pro. The other thing is it does do 10th stop increments, and that's very unique too, because standard speedlights are only going to give you those 3rd stop increments, as where the V1 is going to give you 10th stop increments. So if you really need to fine-tune your light, you can do that. It will go down to 1/256. The V860 only goes down to 1/128. So you get that extra stop on the tail end. That tail end is very important, just in case you're in a situation where the flash may be too bright. You need to power down even a stop more than that. But more importantly, 2/56 of a second gives you ultra-fast flash duration time. So if you're trying to freeze water droplets or anything that has to do with fast motion in a studio setting, this V1 is going to just kill it. Then, in addition to all of that, the locking mechanism should not be poo-pooed at all. This is quite nice. It's a one-handed lock mechanism compared to the older V860 and some other speedlights which have a twist lock mechanism. The twist lock sometimes requires 2 hands. I have found that with the single-handed lock, that slide lock on the V1, if you know how to unlock your phone, you know how to lock the flash. The head itself is quite convenient as well. You'll notice it does do the standard like -7, so if you're doing macro work and it's on camera, you can get that -7 degree tilt. And then you've got your standard straightforward. You can go all the way to 90 degrees just like a regular flash, but here's the cool part. If you do have like an angled ceiling behind you or even a wall you can bounce off real quick, it does go to 120 degrees, which is something that you don't see out of flashes either. So the 120 degree tilting, that's kind of nice because then you don't have to spin your head around and pop it up. You can just simply pop it all the way back. And then finally, I just did a quick test with the Sekonic L478DR. Here in our learning studio earlier, and I found that the V1 actually outputs a 3rd stop more light than the V862. Why is this important? Well, if you've been struggling with the V862 just a little bit where you're just trying to find that extra light anywhere you can, you don't want to bump up your ISO, you don't want to drop your aperture, anything like that, the V1 is going to give you that extra 1/3 bump there. I'm not sure if that has to do with the capacitor, the flash tube, or if that it's a round head, but I tested them at the same power, tested them at the same distance, and at the same zoom settings. Same ISO, everything, and it just popped out a 3rd stop more than the V860. So now that we've got the V1's key features and how they're different compared to a V860 or a standard style speedlight or flash gun, let's talk about that AKR1 that I've kind of been teasing you with a little bit in this video. This is a really cool kit, whether you're doing on-camera work or off-camera flash work. But the nice thing about the AKR1 is that it is all included here in this nice little bag that you can just throw into your backpack or your camera bag, your rolling case, whatever it may be. It even has like a little leash if you need to carry it. So it all fits nice and neat in this little bag. Everything that you get magnetically attaches to the V1 or to the SR1 while you're using it with a standard speedlight. You get a translucent dome, gives you kind of a spread of light, kind of an omnidirectional modifier. You get a grid, so if you need to kind of pinpoint that light, create kind of a harder Hollywood fashion style light. This one was a little bit confusing at first, but now it makes sense. It is a wide-angle diffuser, so most speedlights have their wide-angle diffusers kind of tucked in here, and they kind of just pop out and then pop down. You don't have that ability with a round head, obviously, so to get that wide-angle diffusion, you have to get the AKR1 kit, and it comes in there. This was a cool little attachment here. The kit does come with a fluorescent, a tungsten, and then half tungsten, quarter tungsten, and diffusion gels. And these gels are not the flimsy standard gels that you're getting, they're actual hard plastic. And they kind of just lock into this little gel locking mechanism here. And then you can stack, of course, different modifiers on top of that. So if you wanted a gridded gel, or if you wanted a gel dome or a gelled wide-angle diffuse, you can do all of that with these two pieces here. So again, it comes with multiple filters and then the filter holder as well. And then the final two pieces are nice. This one is a bit more niche. The barn doors, if you're doing a lot of like tabletop work, maybe you're doing some of those action figure things that I've seen on some of the photo blogs. If you're into that nerdery like me, I've seen sparklers, I've seen firecrackers, action figures flying. It's very fun. This little guy is going to come in nice and handy if you want to pinpoint the light or kind of block it from one side or the other. And we'll test this here in a second just to get an idea of what you're getting with each one of these modifiers. And then finally, for event work, this one's very handy. Bounce cards have always been a go-to in my bag. Some people decide to use an index card with a rubber band. I don't see that as very professional when I'm at an event, so this looks a lot nicer. But in addition, it's reversible, so you get black and white. If you need to block the light, you can use the black side. If you want to use the white side, you can bounce the light forward. But it does tilt just slightly in two different directions. So if you want kind of a tiltable flash bounce card, then you've got that. But the other nice thing is I don't have to twist my flash head around. It kind of just spins on the flash head. That way I'm not having to finagle with larger gears and kind of more tension and friction there below. I can kind of just spin this around however I wish, which is very convenient. And then in addition, if I needed to soften it up more, I can always just throw the dome on there. So all of these modifiers I will review here in just a second, but first I wanted to just do a showdown of the V862 and the V1 to show you what I was talking about when it came to that light spread. The first things that we talked about when it came to the difference between the two is that light spread. So I found the V1 has a much more even round spread of light, as where the V860 is going to give you more of that rectangle, oblong, oval. I've got my camera hooked up to the Sling Studio. I've got Ken behind the boards right now. He's going to switch me over real quick, and I'm just going to show you what I've got going on when it comes to in-camera and what I'm getting against the wall so that you can see the difference in those light patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. I've got the X Pro F for Fuji on my Fuji X-T3, I believe I've got here, X-T2. I'm going to go ahead and switch my Channel 1 Group A over to manual flash because that's what I was using earlier when it came to these flashes. Gave me a nice idea of what I was working with. And again, here I'm just going to be setting this on a light stand towards the wall. That way you're getting an idea kind of lighting pattern I'm getting. So helpful to turn on my flash, make sure it's in slave mode on channel 1 group A, go ahead and test it, make sure it works, and it does. And we're just going to take a shot real quick. And there. So to show it off there, a nice round, even light coming out of that round flash head. So let's go ahead and take another shot. This time I'm going to take a shot with the V860. The same exact setup, same exact distance, just so that you can get an idea of what that might look like. Okay, so now we have the V860. I'm at the same distance. Let me go ahead and turn off my V1 so that's not firing at the same time. Turn on my V860. Make sure that we're in slave mode. Make sure that we're on channel 1. Make sure that we're in group A. And we are. I'm going to just test fire, and the test fire works. So now we're going to take a look at this and how it compares. Okay, so much more oblong and rectangular and not as even as that V1. There's that difference there. And again, so you can see the difference between those two. Much, much different. So the next thing that now that you've seen the difference between the two, the next thing that I want to do is I want to sit down here with this fun mannequin head that we have here in our learning studio that we use from time to time to kind of look at lighting patterns with our lighting students. So I've just got to have a simple light stand set up here. I'm going to put the V1 on this swivel, and I'm going to attach a few of the AKR1 attachments to it, and then show you what those might look like on a person doing an off-camera flash setup. The ones that I noticed just in testing that worked really well were the dome with the card by itself. The grid is very cool, and the barn doors along with the grid work very nicely as well. So right off the bat, I just want to kind of show you the card and how that would work. Get my V1 up here. Okay. All right, so we've got our V1 here with the bounce card attachment from the AKR1, and we've got our little mannequin head here. Nice that it's finding its face. So we're just going to take a shot now and see how this looks. Oh, looks like it didn't fire, so let's make sure that we are all on. There we go. I think I just had to test fire to make sure it's synced up. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, a nice softer light. It's being bounced off the wall a little bit, and then you've got the bounce card kind of filling in those shadows. Nice little lighting pattern going on. Probably not something that I would use just as a single light, but it is a nice little setup just with one flash. Yep. So next, what I'm going to try out here is the dome attached to the card with the V1. So here we've got, as you can see, if Ken hooks into my camera, you can see that now we've got the dome attached here to the V1 with the bounce card, and we're just going to see what that looks like real fast. Okay. Nice. So this gives us more of a specular highlight, I've noticed. And I think that's because the dome is a little bit closer and it's shining more of that light on there. It's getting a specular highlight on the face. So if you want that high contrast face, then that little dome along with the bounce card would look nice. That is something that I think I would use along with the reflector to fill in some of the shadows. Next up, I want to try out the grid and the barn doors. First, I'll just try the grid. I'm going to kind of just pump up the light a little bit here and tilt it down for more of a dramatic effect. And what's cool here is I'm going to go ahead and turn on that modeling light because grids are tricky. So right now, you can see I've got the modeling light on inside the V1. All right? But my light isn't necessarily hitting that subject. So what I probably want to do is tilt it up a little bit or move the light stand up a little bit. So I'm going to try that real fast. There we go. Much cooler. Okay, now you can see the modeling light's falling mostly on the mask of that face. I can go ahead and I can turn that off too right now. There we go. So now I can just shoot. I know exactly where my light's going to fall. Very cool. So with that, as you can see, the grid's going to give you more of that focused light, much more harder. This is going to be nice for some of your more fashionable shots. You really only want to use this with people with smoother skin. If you do it on somebody who has rougher skin or maybe problems with acne or oil, you will get a lot of oily looking or bumpy looking skin. Now, let's just imagine we wanted to hone that in a little bit more. I'm going to use my modeling light again here. Now, get my camera over here so that you can see what I've got going on. I kind of just want to do the eyes here of the mannequin. So I'm just kind of tilted the barn door, added the barn doors from the AKR one with the grid. Now I'm getting this really tight beam of light just across under the eyes and on the eyes. So let's take a look at what this is going to be. Well, the modeling light deceived me a little bit, but let's just kind of inch that in. Try it one more time. That's cooler. So now you can see I've honed in my light a lot more from that grid. Those barn doors help a whole lot when I want to kind of just focus on the face and I don't want any more spillage outside of that. The barn doors just make that a lot more easier with being able to fine tune that. And then along with the modeling light, I can see exactly where that's going to go. And if I need to fine tune a little bit more, that's not a problem at all. It's a lot easier than using other speed lights. So again, guys, I thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you stayed for the unboxing. I'm glad you got to see what's inside that V1 kit. We've got them here in stock at Midwest Photo. Make sure to stop in, give us a call. Again, we'll have those up on the website next week for you if you want to purchase them online. But you can get them even sooner than that if you call in mpex.com. If you'd like to stop into Midwest Photo, again, we're off Silver Drive, off the Weber Road exit on 71 in Columbus, Ohio. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Shoot us an email. Visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you're on those. Give us a hello. Tell us you watched. Thanks for tuning in.